Well, it looks like I'm live. Oh, do I have that card over there? Oh dear. Be right back, y'all. Get that. So I thought today I'd come on and just chat. I have the day off, so had some free time. And the weather's atrocious, so it's not like I'm gonna go anywhere today. It's raining pretty hard. Not that I dislike that, but it's not that comfortable to be out in. So I thought I'd share with you some of the presents that I got this year. Presents I got for myself anyway. I did get a few nice presents from family and friends. So just to go over that, my friend got me this beautiful chair and ottoman that are behind me at this time. They're very comfy, although I have to say Nero's enjoying them a lot more than I am. And then I also was gifted a new office chair. So I'm still, hi, happy Christmas. Yeah, be sure to comment and like the video if you're here watching. So yeah, I got a new office chair, so that'll be set up soon. I will need some assistance setting it up just because, I do. So next time if somebody comes over, I'll put them to work. But I'm excited about it because it's pink, y'all. And I have a pink couch, so it'll go with that. And I'm also embracing a lot more pink in my life. Brad Edwards, I'm getting civil partnered in the new year. Oh, good for you. Congratulations. Very, very happy for you. There's someone for everyone, right? So yeah, I got an office chair. So yeah, I went over. So I got some furniture, and actually I got another piece of furniture, a new room divider. So that's exciting because I am right now working on kind of reorganizing my home and finding ways to make it work more for me. One thing that I have to deal with is, because of certain mobility issues, setting up my home it presents some challenges. So I have to kind of rearrange things a little bit better in here so that I can be more organized, because that's something that's kind of plummeted. And I was also, this past week, I was dog sitting for the most charming little dog for my neighbors, and their home is so well organized. I was like really impressed. It's a couple, they live together, and the way they had their home organized and the use of the space, it was inspiring to me. So, and I got to, look after this cute little dog. In fact, I'll pull up a cute picture of him for those of you who don't follow me anywhere else. He's so cute. Let's see. Here's a photo of the two of us together. That's Merlin. So yeah, I was looking after him. But yeah, his people are back now. So basically, I don't have to look after him anymore. He was quite a handful. So yeah, I have a new room divider. So those were kind of gifts that I was given this year. And I also got myself some gifts for Christmas. So I thought I'd share those with you because I thought y'all would find it maybe interesting. Nero, knock it off. I got myself a new planner. This is pretty important to me. I always get myself a planner because I need one. I need a handwritten planner. I don't know how people organize their stuff on their phones. I can't. And this one is pretty great. I actually went into, I think, Barnes and Noble to get this. And it's got lovely like gold embossment and I'll just show you how it's kind of organized. So yeah, it has a lot of room for the days, and then on the weekdays specifically, on the weekends it doesn't look like they have it divided this way, but there's tasks, and there's even time periods, and then notes. So you can kind of really well organize your day. So I'm pretty impressed with this planner and looking forward to using it, although I haven't gone completely through it. But yeah, I like that there's notes you can take on every day, because I do like to leave myself little notes or affirmations. So this one will be good. And yeah, at the end, there's, I guess, a note page. So there's not much for like writing or planning, but this one is definitely a good day-to-day planner that I can use. So yeah, I'm looking forward to breaking this in the new year. I swear that's one of my favorite parts of the new year, is starting my new planner. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Is gorgeous. It's light, it's small, it can fit in my purse. It's a good size. The one I've had this year, I like a lot, but it just is a little too big and awkward. So yeah, this is more up my alley. Okay, and another gift I got for myself. I'd heard about this company, and this is not promotional. I'm not getting paid for this, but for those of you who are into perfumes and really nice quality scents, I found out about this company, Dossier, and they were doing this sale, like 30% off, earlier this month. I will say they took a while to send to me, but that was okay. But what they do is they do dupes of name brand popular scents, which is good if you are interested in scents as well, like certain ones, because I like quality perfumes. I'm a classy woman and I like to smell good, but I don't necessarily want to spend hundreds of dollars on a perfume if I've never smelled it personally. I do sometimes go and get like samples to try. But yeah, I was just excited by this. It was on sale. I felt like being generous with myself and getting a few different scents. So I thought I'd come on here and share with you the ones I got and talk about them. Now, let's go through them. So I got one that is the Gourmand Patchouli. They come with these cards, so they have all the notes. So if you're interested in perfume as well, they go through the notes. So this one, the Gourmand Patchouli, and this is how they come. So they're very sleek little bottles, but very basic. I will say that these are very cool. There's magnets, so they click on. So yeah, the bottles are not so cute, but I just have to say the scents are amazing. Now this one, this one's very like, I don't know, how do I put it? It's rich, I'll say, fruity, and definitely has that patchouli. So let's just read through the notes. Oh, and it's inspired, so it has the information and what the dupe is that they're recreating. So this one is Thierry Mugler's Angel Eau de Parfum, which I haven't smelled. Okay, so the top notes are mandarin, which berries, passion fruit. Middle notes of patchouli, honey, and plum, and the base notes are caramel, vanilla, and cocoa. So yeah, this one I like quite a bit. I would say this is my second favorite one of the batch that I got. The one I was inspired to get, and I actually saw this on another YouTuber. She was recommending this one specifically, the Spicy Orchid. It's a dupe of Tom Ford's Black Orchid Eau de Parfum. And so these are the top notes: cinnamon, pink pepper, mandarin. Middle notes of ylang ylang, orchid, plum, and then base notes of sandalwood, vanilla, incense, and patchouli. It's a very rich perfume. It's very complex. I love the way it smells, but it does not last on my skin, unfortunately. Like, it's one of those that you kind of have to spray on your clothing or maybe your hair. But I have to say, when I put it on my pulse points, it really evaporates within a couple hours, which I don't like. I want a perfume that lasts throughout the day. And so I've always been into like more traditional classic perfumes because of that, because I want to spray it in the morning and I want to go throughout my day, do all my things. And then when I take off my clothes, I want to get that whiff again. I want to smell it, throughout the day. I wear it for me specifically because it's enriching to me. So if I'm not smelling it throughout the day, it's kind of rough, but it's a really good scent and maybe it'll work for other people. The thing about perfume is what lasts on one person isn't going to necessarily last on another. I'm looking kind of dark in here, aren't I, y'all? Turn the light over a little bit. Oh, hi, Joan Dark, and hi, H-Han. Good you're here. And now, okay, so I would say that one was my least favorite just because it doesn't last. The smell is good, but I can't. And then this one was my favorite, the Floral Rose. This is inspired by or a dupe of Le Labo's Rose 31, which I love Le Labo scents. I do have another 13, I think is the one. And this one reminds me of that in some ways. I haven't actually looked at the notes that are in it, but the Floral Rose, this has to be my favorite. I'm actually wearing it right now. I love rose specifically. Rose scents, rose scented soap is one thing that I go for. Like I tend to, when I buy soaps that are, artisan, I generally go for rose. So, but I didn't really have any rose perfume. So I'm glad I invested in this one. But yeah. So these are the notes. It's top notes are rose, centifolia, and cumin. So it's spicy and floral. Middle notes of vetiver, incense, cedarwood, and then the base notes of musk, cistus, and amber. It's gorgeous. It's rich. I feel like amazing wearing it. This is one that I'll definitely purchase again. Actually, this is going to be one that is probably going to be one of my signature scents. I mean, I have an interesting perfume collection. So maybe I'll share that sometime. Would any of you be interested in me going through my perfumes? It's funny, because I didn't wear perfume for the longest time. The other thing I love about these is these boxes that they come in. They're very, very sturdy boxes that fold up well. You can definitely put these away. I haven't taken them out of their boxes and put them with the other perfumes. I've kind of just been enjoying them. I avoided all scented soaps. The perfume on my clothes I love. My mom got me a single note solid perfume. I do love solid perfumes. I have a little solid rose perfume. Yeah, I would say this one is not very sweet. It's more spicy than sweet, but the rose is definitely prominent. I love the scent of rose though. And it smells gorgeous. And it definitely, just based on what other Le Labo scents I've smelled, I don't really know much about the company itself, but it reminds me of the other perfumes of theirs that I've smelled, which I've only smelled two, but like the Another 13, that one I really like. And then I've also, they have a sandalwood one. I can't remember. I think it's called Sandal or Santal, something like that. So yeah, those were gifts I got for myself, but that was it this year. I didn't go too crazy getting gifts for myself. But yeah, also I have my birthday coming up in a couple weeks. So that's when I will probably think more about gifts for myself, although I don't really know. Because looking around my home, I have more than I need. I think we all can relate to that. And really, it's just about figuring out how to organize and put what I do have to its best use. Um, so maybe I'll, look into some more organizational type stuff for my home specifically. Uh, so yeah, those were my Christmas gifts this year. Went through them. Did anybody else get any gifts that they were really excited about? I know I went live. What did I title this live stream? I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions. Um, because I'm feeling kind of like I think a lot of us do at the end of the year, where we're like, okay, my life is not where I want it to be. I'm not organizing my time as well as I could. And what can I do moving forward to improve that? So there's definitely some good habits I've created this year, but there's also some definitely bad habits that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm also looking at it because I've been living in this apartment for a year. Um, and, I'm thinking about like, am I looking at it the year I've lived here? Like, I definitely have a lot of work I could be doing to make my living experience here a lot better and really maximizing my use of the space I do have. I have a lot more space than I did in my last place. It's well organized for me in terms of getting around in my mobility device. Um, I have a lot more creature comforts here, more closet space, appliances that I didn't have in my last place. So it really is wonderful. And it's been such a blessing to be here. And I do intend to stay here, but I am like looking at, okay, how am I using my closet space? I also like my wardrobe needs some work, y'all. I have a lot of great clothes. I do. I'm always lucky with how I acquire things I find, but I do find that my clothes are not organized. What I am doing with them is not best. And I would like to be treating my clothes a little bit better, especially like some of the, dress clothes I have specifically. I've gotten suits this year. I have dresses. I have nicer pieces that should be better taken care of. So I guess one of my main resolutions this year is to organize my wardrobe, specifically, get rid of some things that I'm just not going to wear, donate that, and then also work on my closet space. Now, one issue I've had specifically is that it's just not accessible to me, at least the closet space that's in my bedroom. If it were differently placed, um, I think I'd have an easier time. Unfortunately, it's not. I've been in some of the other units, just like in this building, and I've noticed that a lot of them, the bedroom areas are separate from the closet areas. And that would be ideal for me because what's happened here is that I have my bed basically in the way of getting to my closet and I can't really get around it. So, one thing that I did yesterday actually was I moved my bed up against the closet space. So, what I'm figuring is I'll be able to, at least from there, um, from my bed area, at least like in the morning, I can access my closet space a bit better and I can put clothes away a little bit easier, although it's not ideal. But I did find I slept a lot better last night because I tend to sleep on the side of my closet as well. And I have Nero sleep on the outside, to protect me. But I did find like I didn't have that nervousness about maybe rolling over too much because I do sleep kind of at the end. So that was good. That was good. Anyway, oh, some comments. Joan Dark said, my mom made an amazing clown suit, pink and yellow with a huge ruff. Your mother made you a clown suit? Are you a clown, Joan? Do you work as a clown, or do you do that, or is that just your aesthetic? 'Cause I love clowns. I do. I'm quite fond of them. Another life would have been my calling, I think. Um, so yeah, I was going on. So yeah, definitely getting more organized and better utilizing the resources I do have. Because yeah, looking around, I'm like, I've got all this stuff. What am I doing with it? I've got stuff here, I've got stuff there, I've got all these art supplies, I've got all these beauty supplies, I've got all these, wonderful knickknacks, I've got beautiful plants, I've got, a pretty rich life. I've got like also, yarn, things like that. Like, but my creative output isn't that good because it's all cluttered and it's not getting used as it could. So I think really my main resolution is to declutter my space a bit and kind of because y'all even my desk right now and I this desk is a constant. I'm constantly working on this desk. I have been like for the past few months, but nothing's really been resolved. So I think, for me specifically this year, it's just about finding the right space for everything and having things in that order. Because while there's some things that have their space, a lot of my stuff is like, it doesn't have a space to live. And that's, you can't have that in your home. Nero, what are you doing? He's being terrible. It's not even lunchtime. Don't even start with me. Okay, so what are y'all's New Year's resolutions? Do you have any? I also have resolutions for my output here, my content creation, as it were. It's been really difficult for me, at least in the past few months, especially. And I think a lot of it has to do with my work. It's been taking a lot out of me, and it's hard for me not to let it get to me. But there's just so much work. Hi, Donald Duck. Okay. Come on, y'all. You can spell my name right. It's right there. Not to complain, but come on. I just so yeah, work has been very intense for me, and it's hard for me to have. I get off work and I'm just so fried, and that's been difficult for me to like be in a space of creativity when I like get off and I'm just like burned out. But I know that there's things that I can be doing to not burn myself out so much. So I'm hopefully, not hopefully, it will be um, something coming up that I am going to try to have a more consistent output here and elsewhere. That is, you know, not so sporadic. But yeah, I had, been doing the monthly tarot readings, and I really enjoy doing those. And I know that I have the time to, but the energy has been lacking the past couple months. So I'm hoping that beginning in this new year, that the habits that I am cultivating right now will help me to have more of that output, but also a more consistent output, because I would like to go live once a week at least. So I'm going to figure out when that's going to be, but I will be doing a consistent live weekly, okay, here on YouTube. And I don't know if it's just going to be a check in or a random chat, but that's going to be something that you can look forward to weekly around the same time. And well, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be something that we can create as we go. Because I think about so many other content creators, and a lot of what they do is just fluff, or they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this right now." So I realize, I make it more complicated than I need to because I'm like, oh, if I don't have anything, meaningful to say, then why am I going live? I make it a little bit more serious than it needs to be sometimes. And really, there's so much I can be sharing, or time. It's really just about the time. And yeah, I think there's a lot we can be doing. Another resolution for me is to read more. Now, you all know that I'm a reader. I've talked about books many times on this channel. It's been a big part of my life, but the past couple years, I have not been reading as much. And I know that that's often the case for people that, the older they get, the less that they read over time. But I'm not happy with it. And it's not something that I want for myself. The reality is that if you don't stay reading, you're not still learning and you're not growing as a person. And anything you could want to know is in books. So for me, I am going to set a pretty strong goal for my reading, and I'm going to be, kind of stringent with myself. Let me do the math right now. So if I want to hit my goal next year, let's just say I'm going to get my calculator on my phone out here. Where is it? No, it's not there. There we go, utilities. So, okay, let's see. I'm going to try to read 4 books a month. Now, 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been a problem for me, but now it seems to be. Okay, so for that specifically, I have many books to read, and I think some will be longer than others, and I definitely am somebody who reads multiple books at once. So, oh hell no, you ain't being nasty on the camera. You best not be. Hold up, y'all. Little interim. Mr. Kitty, I'm not having you licking your butt on camera. Don't do that. We ain't having that. No, not in this house. So yeah, what was I saying? I'm talking about reading books. So I'll be reading multiple books at once. That's something I already do, but I definitely am going to be cultivating that daily practice, which is that's just not been in my life recently. I think like a lot of us, I spend way too much time on social media. And so I'm really going to be focused on using my time better, because one thing I've realized is I have so much time, but what I'm doing with it is not filling my mind. It's not feeding me the way it could be and the way it should be. So, yeah, I have a goal next year of trying to read 50 books. So anyway, let me catch up with the comments. Hey, Cancerous Amphibian, welcome to the show. Joan Dark says, I am a clown. I do cabaret and comedy. Oh, that's awesome. Not so much in children's parties. Yes. I understand. I mean, there's different kinds of clowns. My resolution is to dedicate more time to fitness and manage creative workloads better. Hey, yes. Cancerous Amphibian says, what are you interested in reading? Reading is so relaxing. Well, I think, I have a big stack of books right now that I'm working on getting through. So I can show you some of them there. I actually have some right here. This is a book I purchased in the last year. I have not opened. Anna Louise Strong's I Change Worlds. This is her autobiography. I like autobiographies or biographies. So this is, I've shared actually some of her poetry on this channel. If you want to look up Anna Louise Strong, I think in 2020, I did a reading of some of her poetry, but she's a pretty significant figure in this area. And just historically, and also in China, she was friends with Chairman Mao, but she's an American revolutionary from Seattle. So yeah, I Change Worlds by Anna Louise Strong. I'm interested in reading that. This is another book on my pile. Friedrich Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy. This is a pretty, quick read. I'm actually already reading this, In a Single Garment of Destiny by Martin Luther King Jr. And I have another one of his books. Where do we go from here? This is his last book, so I'm going to be reading this. So I'm interested in historical biographies, political theory, philosophy, self-help and self-improvement. That's generally what I read. I'm currently reading as well. So yeah, this is one I'm currently reading. What page am I on? Yeah, I'm on page 76. But this one, it's a lot of his speeches. I thought when I purchased it was actually one of his books. So I'm not enjoying it as much as I could, although I do enjoy reading speeches. But I also have books on my shelf back there that I haven't read. So I think for me specifically, also I'm going to be organizing my books because I'm going to be getting rid of some of them. So kind of just creating that pile of to be read and reading the things, because I've already got books that I need to read that I haven't. So that's kind of helpful. And I've also, in my bedroom area, I've moved a lamp in there because my room is very, I don't know how to describe it. There's not a light in the bedroom. The bedroom's like an open plan, which works for me because I have the mobility scooter. So it's closed off, but not completely. It's not like 4 walls, it's like 3 walls. And so there's lights, fixtures in the hallway, which somewhat get in the bedroom, but not much. And then in here. And then there's lights in the closet. But that's not really been helpful to read. So I'm going to be putting, or like I've put already the lamp in my bedroom, which has been helpful. So I think I'm going to spend more time in there as well, because I've noticed that I don't. And I think a lot of it just has been because I haven't set myself up to have it be this space of comfort and respite for me. So now that I have done a little bit of that, I have been reading in there more. And I also have been, reading in the bath, but that's kind of mixed because I don't like to do too much of that. But I think for me, really, I just am going to set up a reading practice where I have a phone off time. And so that means no phone use after maybe like 7 p.m. And then I'll just read from then on until I go to bed. Because I found with my father, he was a really avid reader and he read so many books. And I think a lot of it had to do with just the fact that he read before he went to sleep. Excuse me, y'all. Having a little frog come up in my throat. So yeah, that's something that I'm definitely wanting to cultivate more for myself that reading habit and to like actually get some of these books read, you know? They're just sitting around not having been read, and that's not right. Um, Another thing for me though too that I found is like I don't have a lot of the same interests I did anymore. So that's been kind of challenging because I do have a lot of books that are like I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure I'm going to pick out what I need to read. What I want to read, I'm going to read fun books too. But for me, like fun books will probably be biographies. Um, there's a couple that I'm going to acquire soon, maybe for my birthday. Mickey Bereni from Lush, she has released an autobiography that I'm interested in reading. So I'm going to be getting a copy of that soon. Excuse me. And then Matt Osman from Suede is actually a writer, and he's released a few books. And he's going to be his newest book, which is already out in the UK, is going to be released in the US in summertime. So I'll be reading that, and it's a novel. So I will be stretching myself a little bit to read his work, but specifically, I mean, mainly I will be reading kind of like philosophy, political theory, some religious work too, because I'm going to be reading. I'm reading a book by C.S. Lewis now. I think I mentioned it in my last live stream, and I have another book by him I'm going to be reading. But anyway, Cancerous Amphibian says, I want to learn Spanish. Bueno. Yeah, learning another language is a good idea, and Spanish is a really good one to have under your belt. Any Latin based language. Pico says, my resolution is to get over my driving anxiety. I had a car accident years ago and it's affected me. To this day, I'm too dependent on other people to drive me, and I can't do that anymore. And you don't live in an area with public transport. Yeah, that's difficult, honey. I think, yeah, that's a good thing. I'm sorry you were in an accident, but yeah, I I don't drive, y'all. It is something that I would like to do at some point, but honestly, I'm not in a position to right now in my life. Um, Financially speaking, anyway. Like, I don't feel that I'm at that level where I can really afford to maintain and keep a vehicle. So, in some ways, that keeps me from it. But I also live in a city that has excellent transport. So, but I still feel like that too. So, I just, I wish you well with that. And I hope that you get that because independence is important. Uh, Cancerous Amphibian says a study room is very helpful. I would love to have a study room. Pico says, I read a lot. One year I read 118 books in a year. Staying off the phone and electrics has a lot. And always have a book on you so when you're waiting for something, pull out a book and not a phone. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I should just yeah, I think that's part of it too. And the thing is, I think when I read a lot too, I took a lot more public transport. So I just have my books with me, and I'd have like at least half an hour a day that I could just spend reading. And I usually would devour quite a bit that way. Half an hour to work, half an hour back home. Um, so I don't have that anymore now that I work from home. And in the morning specifically, like my routine is, um, I go out and I visit with one of my friends usually. So yeah, I don't know, but I think what you're saying there, that's a good idea to always have a book on me because yeah, I do find those moments where I like pull out my phone when like if I had a book, that would probably be a better use of my time. So thank you for that. Uh, Cancerous Amphibian says cars are so dangerous and accidents so traumatizing. Yeah, they are. They are. Um, yeah, Pico. I mean, I know. I would. It's here's your options. You either learn how to drive or you move. Those are the only things you can do, right? You can either, I mean, not learn how to drive, but get over your anxiety about driving. Um, Pico says, I'm reading the Wheel of Time series, so that's going to be a big mountain for me. I have grown a love for epic fantasy books. So, what is the Wheel of Time series? What is that about? Because I've not really read any, I don't want to say I haven't read any series because I have, but it's just not been. And my dad was like that. He was into that sort of stuff. He loved science fiction and fantasies books, and he read series. Cancerous Amphibian says, isn't it based on Buddhist principles? Are you talking about the Wheel of Time series or something else, honey? What are you referring to? Yes. I'm just going to assume that you're referring to the Wheel of Time series. Sorry for caps. Wheel of Time is inspired by many religions, actually. How interesting. How interesting. Okay. Is anybody else reading anything interesting? I'm enjoying what I'm reading right now, I have to say. Um, yeah, and I am part of a book group, so that is helpful. I have a mentor that I've been working with this past year, and she runs a book group. And the books she chooses are generally very helpful. They're, self improvement and self help generally, books that give you advice about different things. So, um, I've been enjoying that, and that has kept me reading a bit. But yeah, I do feel like, I'm definitely still not reading as much as I could. Okay, so in the world, okay, this is referring to the Wheel of Time series. In this world, the magic is split between men and women, but thousands of years ago, the male half of the power broke, and only women can channel, and men who have the ability to use magic go insane. It's called the true source. Interesting. Hmm. It's interesting too, because like most psychic mediums that you come across are women, aren't they? Like people who specifically channel, or not that men can't, because I have encountered men who do have those gifts, or at least have the ability to perceive spirits. But most of the time, when people are like talking to spirits or able to like give messages, it's women, and I think there's something to that. And I think it has to do with our makeup a bit more. I think it's just because we are the, the feminine sex. So we are receptive and able to kind of be a medium in some way. We're able to bring that forward more. There is a person who has been reincarnated throughout all time to fight the Dark One, and there is a boy that is named Rand, and that is the newest incarnation of this person and has to fight the Dark One again. Wow. Well, I'm glad you got sucked into that, honey. That means you're going to be reading some books, which is good. Good. I mean, like I said, that is for this year. One of my specific goals is to read more. Have you heard of alpha brainwaves being a way to achieve Zen? Are you asking me that? I don't understand, honey. What do you mean by alpha brainwaves? I mean, our mind goes into different, like, there's different waves we're in during different levels of consciousness. So, I mean, but I'm not an expert about that. I just know that, like, in different states that I've put myself into, that your brain frequency changes, the waves change. And so you have I guess a different kind of consciousness at that time because of the way your brain is operating. There's this guy that can align your brain waves to be more alpha. I don't know what I think about that, honestly, because, like, if he can do it, you can do it yourself. So why would you have him do it? It's just my opinion about that. Like, if he can put my brain waves alpha, then I can do it. I just need to figure out how. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's anything that you need to, you know. I bet there's videos on YouTube where they have the different frequencies. $8,000. Honey, you can change your brain frequency by meditating. You don't need to spend $8,000 to make your brain waves more alpha. You just have to do different practices. You can do rituals that change your mind. You don't need that kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, but then again, I'm like, get your hustle. If people are giving him the money, good for him. Good for him. They said it did in a week compared to a Zen monk who spent 20 years. I guarantee you they have no idea what the hell they're talking about if they're saying that, honey. I achieved what a Zen monk achieved in 20 years of meditating. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There's no way. Because that person did, that monk, we'll just talk about that monk. That monk's consciousness is not something you can recreate by, like, having somebody do something to you. You can't. Each consciousness is different, for one. So that's a unique individual. Let's talk about that. So his notion of whatever state he's come to. And I don't even know about Zen, what we're calling Zen here. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? Just peace with existence? Peace with reality? They hook you up to an EEG with music to simulate your brainwaves and have you react to it. Y'all, the power is within us. You could take that $8,000, you could buy yourself so many things. You could invest in yourself in so many ways with that. Like, why is that what you're investing that money in? I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's not for me. It's not for me. But yeah, I'm like, $8,000. What could you buy with that? You could buy yourself a vehicle. You could move. You could probably pay for quite a deal of education. You definitely could invest in your own self-development. You could buy all kinds of medical things. Like what? But you're hooking yourself up to a machine that plays frequency music. You can listen to frequency music on YouTube for free. You can put it on in the background when you're doing your chores. Like, why. But I guess some people are desperate to like not, I don't know. Can we talk about, let's break this down. What does it mean to be in a state of zen? Cuz I feel like I've been in that space before where I'm just in flow, where time doesn't matter, the world around doesn't matter. I'm just lost in the moment. Okay. That to me is like the ultimate goal. So if it's alpha waves, it sounds scammy to me, y'all. Scam, scam. Okay, like no. But you know what? I don't. This is how I feel about this kind of thing. Some people deserve to be scammed. Okay, I'm gonna put that out there because and this is something that comes up too with like I guess like the tarot reading community and like they get talking about, and there are scammers too. There are people that impersonate, people, figures. They'll create like fake accounts, that kind of thing. I've noticed that a lot. But like specifically, if you yourself, okay, can't figure out what is legitimate versus what isn't, and figure out like what the actual purpose of these things is, then like maybe you need to get scammed so you can learn the lesson. Like that's how I feel about this thing. You want to spend $8,000 of your hard-earned money. Like I don't, maybe it's not hard earned, but like most likely it was. Most likely people labored for that money. And then they're going to turn around and instead of investing it into something material that's actually going to help them in their life, they're playing with their brain frequency so they can be alpha brain waves. Like, I mean, come on. Okay. Like, I just don't believe anybody else has the power to like do whatever. Like, and so then I'm going to achieve some state of Zen. That is a temporary space. Okay. And the reason that monk has achieved that space is that he spent years, 20 years of his life cultivating that. Okay. You can't get that just by turning on a computer and hooking your brain up to it. Like it just doesn't, it's not the same thing. Okay. You have to go back to the real world and live your real life. And that is going to be one of where you're dealing with the highs and lows of reality. A monk is set apart from the real world. Remember that? Like a monk is not living with the responsibilities of a real life. Okay. They've set themselves apart to go live that kind of life. NT ways. Cancerous amphibian says they stress forgiveness. I'm not a proponent of that. I believe in forgiveness. I mean, I'm definitely a proponent of forgiveness. It's one of the most important things that it's one of the most important things that we can cultivate in our life, I think, is forgiveness. But I don't need to hook myself up to an alpha brainwave machine to forgive people. I need to like see myself clearly as a human being, to see my own like shortcomings and to recognize that other people are the same. Okay, so like that's what forgiveness is. It's not this complicated thing. I mean it is. It's one of the most difficult things in the world. But it's also simple. I mean, you start by forgiving yourself. You start by forgiving the people in your life, your friends, your family, your coworkers. It's okay. Cancerous amphibian says the rich are unbelievable. I think that's, I mean, I don't know, honey. I mean, what is rich? Compared to many people around the world, I'm rich. What does that mean? I'm sure that many people think that I'm unbelievable, you know? Yeah, it's all perspective. Cancerous amphibian says it's. I think it's really easy for men to want to be in a state of bliss and forgiveness when they don't have things they have problems with. I don't think I think every life has its own challenges. I mean, and I think that's a problem that we deal with, where we look at lives, other people's lives from the outside, but we don't know what their personal struggles are. And we put people on pedestals a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like, we think, oh, this person was born into wealth, this person was born into privilege, this person was born this race, this person was born in this culture. You don't fucking know what they've been through. Pardon my language, but we don't know. And that all comes with its own challenges too. You know, when you're born into a state of, let's see, like privilege, that's actually responsibility that's put on your shoulders. A lot of things are put on you in those circumstances that are difficult. You have things to live up to. And there's a lot of pressure in that as well. So like, I don't look at people that way anymore. I think I did when I was younger. I tended to like put people on pedestals and think that they were somehow different than me. But the reality is, people are people, and people of all walks of life have, you know, they're not any different. And you may find, I've found, just like getting to know more people over the years, in my experience, and like rubbing shoulders with people who maybe I had put on pedestals, they're not really any different than me, and I may have traits that they wish they had. And I often have, or they may be looking at me thinking all kinds of things about my life that they don't really understand either, or that they envy, or that they don't see clearly. And I think a lot of the times too, because of how I talk or how I act or how I articulate or my manners even. I had an experience this summer I'll tell you about. I was eating lunch, right? Um, and there was fried chicken being served, okay? And I got some utensils out to eat the fried chicken because I'm not picking that. I don't like to eat greasy food with my hands. There's some foods I'll eat with my hands, but I'm not eating fried chicken with my hands. Just not going to happen. So I got out my utensils. I started cutting it up, making little, making my food to eat there. Now, somebody was sitting next to me who I didn't know very well, and he made this comment like, he thought I was really bougie because of this. Okay. Just because the simple fact of how I was eating. It was to him very like I must have been like some sort of class above. And I just said to him very clearly, I was like, everybody has room to improve themselves. Like, just because I was born this way or that way, we've all got work we can do to make ourselves more, to develop ourselves. Just because you're born into a situation doesn't mean you have to be comfortable with it or stay stuck there, And I think a lot of the times, like, maybe because somebody had access to maybe more elocution, or we're trained in like proper manners, etiquette, what have you. We think from the outside, or somebody may think from the outside, like, oh, this person was set up. But in reality, it's a lot of it can be learned. Okay. And a lot of people who were put in that situation aren't developed in the ways you might be. So I just for me, I don't think of anybody as being that different from me anymore, because I've recognized that like we all are kind of randomly thrown into this thing, and we all have to make, our lives out of the material we've been given. Okay. So anyway, Cancerous Amphibian says, I don't think that I should be forgiven either then. Can you elaborate why you don't think that you should be forgiven? And says, I'm talking about inherent being and not circumstance. Okay. I'll move on from that because I'd like to know your reply about the forgiveness thing. But I think there's no, for me, forgiveness has been one of those things that was like a hard lesson to learn. You know, for me, it was one of those things that I struggled with and that I fought with, and then kind of realizing, I think, over my life that even though I'd done things that I wasn't happy with or that I could have done better, or maybe that I was ashamed of, even because I definitely been through that. I found like I still knew that I loved myself. I still cared for myself, and people still loved me, you know. And in that, I kind of recognized that, well, I need to extend that to other people. Because, you know, even though I may not like what someone has done, forgiveness is about recognizing and hoping that that person can be better or can do better. And maybe hasn't, but like, you know, it doesn't mean you like what they did. It doesn't mean you're okay with it. It doesn't even mean that you like that person or want to be around that person. But in terms of, I don't believe that any healing is possible without forgiveness, you know, in yourself or others, because you're still holding on to like a should instead of a, you know, a recognition of what is. And seeing, I think, you know, for me, I had a lot of self conceit and pride that got in the way of me like accurately seeing myself. And that's like one of the worst places you can be in as a human being, if you're stuck on the fact that, you know, oh, I'm right, you know, I'm right. I know what's right. I do what's right. And then kind of like looking at my life and looking at the fruit of it and like really assessing like, no, no, I'm not always right. I do things that are wrong. I've done things that are wrong. I've chosen the wrong thing. And forgiving myself for that, you know, because you can't change it. If I were to dwell there and to be there and be like ruminating on what I can't change, like that would be a very stuck place. So I kind of recognized in that I had a responsibility to try my best to forgive others. You know, um, I mean, it was a struggle for me for years. I was like, yeah, that's just some Christian nonsense. But of course, like I kind of realized too that that was me just rebelling against God too. Like, you know, how could you create this reality? Like, but the reality is that we have free will too. So, okay. Heiko asked me, do I have a favorite Norse god or goddess? You know, I don't really, with the Norse gods and goddesses, you know, I know some of them. I wouldn't say I've worked with any of them. My favorite would probably be Odin because he's probably the most familiar to me. And I've definitely like, I think Odin specifically there's correlations between him and like the, you definitely see like how paganism and Christianity came together, and there's connections between him and like Christ in some ways, like that those stories blended well. So I do like Odin. I do like some elements of his personality. And I definitely have found things come out just from, even thinking about him. I definitely think he's still present in the world today in some ways. He's one of those, I would say he's the most iconic to me of their gods and goddesses of that pantheon. So I would say he would be my favorite. I don't really work with any of them though. I'm not really. I don't have any of that heritage either. Like, so I think not that that matters per se, but I just, yeah, I never was really drawn to them. Um, okay, so the cancerous amphibian kind of relating to the forgiveness piece. Isn't it how the world becomes a better place by believing in the should? I don't know if the world becomes a better place because we believe in the should, or not. Obviously, there are preferable ways of being, but like I also think the world becomes a better place because we forgive people and we forgive each other and we like humble ourselves. We see things clearly, we humble ourselves, and we recognize that nobody's perfect. Like nobody is perfect. People will fall. People will do things that are wrong, and we have to live with that as best we can. And I think it just, for me, it comes from recognizing myself, recognizing that I'm not perfect, and recognizing that thus nobody is. And, for me as well, like not holding on to the should in a past tense because you can't really do anything about it. Okay. All those wrong parts of them should die then and not be accepted. I don't know, cancerous amphibian. I think like that in that circumstance, the only way that you're going to transform yourself is through forgiveness, then. Like, how are you going to kill off the wrong part of yourself if you're still doing wrong? I believe that forgiveness is the right thing. I'm sorry, Pico. I'm sorry about your internet. Pico says that Odin is my favorite and his desire to seek knowledge is relatable. Also, he is nothing like how he is in the Marvel movies. I didn't know that Odin was a character in the Marvel movies. I haven't seen any of them. I'll be honest with you, y'all. I'm not familiar. I didn't know Odin was in any of those movies. Who's playing Odin? I want to look this up. What? What are they doing? He's not. Ugh, God. What are they doing? Poor Odin. Okay, I'm just gonna look this up. Marvel. Odin Marvel. Okay, so there was a film called, oh, yeah, I haven't seen any of these films, y'all. He was in a Spider-Man film. Spider-Man? What? What's Odin doing in Spider-Man's pretty interesting too. He's kind of anyway, won't get into that. I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to get into all the ways that they have the gods in there. Yeah, I'm not into superhero. I'm just not into action films either. I'm not into the like. I'm just not. All of it irritates me. Well, anyway, y'all, this was nice. I appreciate the participation, those of you who are participating. But yeah, I got on here to kind of talk about the holidays, talk about gifts, and yeah, like upcoming resolutions for the new year. And so, yeah, I hope you all, will have a happy new year. Um, I don't know if I'll be making any content between now and then. So, yeah, it was nice to kind of come on here. Pico did ask me a question. Um, do you have favorite comfort movies? I don't really have comfort movies. I have comfort TV shows that I watch. So I have ones that I watch over and over again. But yeah, I don't really have any movies like that per se. And I've talked about those shows before. I mean, shows that I rewatch pretty regularly. Peep Show. Um, I would say Upstairs, Downstairs. Those are two ones that I've watched, a number of times over the years. And they're like, shows that I would say are comfort shows. I am rewatching something that I haven't watched since I was a teenager. Hetty Winthrop Investigates, starring Patricia Rutledge and Dominique Monaghan. Actually, he's a teenager in that series. I used to watch that with my dad when I was young. Like that was our show that we watched together. So I'm rewatching that now, and that's a bit of a nostalgia comfort thing, especially I guess around the holidays and not having my father here anymore. It's a way that I guess I have a little bit of comfort from that. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any movies specifically. But thank you for the question. And yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks for the conversation, y'all, and for tuning in to see me. And I'll be back soon, probably in the new year. And if I'm not, until then, I wish you all a very happy new year. Okay. Bye.